Hi, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of my Busk at Dusk. My name is John Flynn, and it's my intention to spend a while tonight remembering my old friend Kristofferson, share some songs and stories, hopefully some smiles, perhaps a tear or two. Mostly, though, I just want to, how did Kris put it? Sing up every song the driver knew. Will you fight like the devil to just keep your head above water? Chained to whatever you got that you can't throw away. You're shooting through space on this river of life that you're riding, and it's swirling and sucking you deeper on down every day. So you turn to your trusty old partner, share some old feelings, and you find to your shock your faithful companion is gone. And the truth slowly dawns that you're lost and alone in deep water, and you don't even know how much longer there is to go on. Like an old holy Bible you clung to through so many seasons, with the rules of survival and words you could still understand. When they prove something wrong you believe in so long, you go crazy. So close to folding the cards that you hold in your hand, singing Holy Toledo, I can't see the light anymore. All those horizons that I used to guide me are gone, and the darkness is driving me farther away from the shore. Throw me a rhyme or a reason to try and go on. Come on, Kris, throw us a line. Actually, he left us a lot of lines, didn't he? A lot of lines to a lot of wonderful songs. And I'm going to check in on comments a lot tonight. If you have anything you'd like read or any questions that I can answer, I'm not any world-renowned expert on my old friend, but we did share some laughs and some memorable times on stage, and God bless him, he was never said no when I asked him to help out on one of my CDs, one of my albums. Incredibly generous to me for many, many years. Anyway, we're going to get to all that, I guess. Let's see here. I got so many capos and I can't find the one I need. Where did I put? Oh, here it is. So who do we got? We got Tony's here. Hi, Tony. By the way, let me know if I have permission to tell the story about the time Kris called you. I thought I got a chuckle remembering that today. Who else is here? Judy Beisler. Hi, Judy. Hello, Glenda. Louise. My friend Joanne. Pamela. Oh, Donna. Donna reminded me, well, I won't tell the story now, but I will tell the story of the first time I ever sang my song Blink, and Donna reminded me when that was. Matthew and David, Judy, Sheila, Anne-Marie, my friend, Susan, Barbara, Diane, Judy Grace out in Plano, Texas, Susan Moon, Pierre. It's 0200 in the morning in SA. Love this song. Where's SA? Anita, Jerry, Glenda. A lot of friends checking in. Heidi's there. Anyway. And Sheila Norton from Pittsburgh. Hello. Look at that old photograph. Is it really you? Smiling like a baby full of dreams. Smiling ain't so easy now. Some are coming true. Nothing simple as it seems. Guess you count your blessings with the problems that you're dealing with today. Like the changing of the seasons, you come a long way. You come a long way down this old road. Looking out a looking glass, running out of time on a face you used to know. Traces of a future lost between the lines. One more rainbow for the road. Thinking of the faces in the window that you passed along the way. And the holy night is falling. Come a long way. You come a long way down this old road. Tried to chase the sun down, but you let it slip away. holy night is falling. Ain't you come a long way? Ain't you come a long way down this old road? Look at that old photograph. Is it really you? Yeah, I know I messed up one of the lines. That won't be the last time tonight that happens, trust me. I've been picking Kristofferson songs all day since I finished my morning coffee. And it's just like a snow globe in there right now, so. And I already had a talk with my old friend. I went for a walk before we went on the internets tonight, and he told me not to worry about that stuff, so I'm not going to. Let's see here. So I kind of have a little plan, but it's pretty loose. This is probably the first song of his that I ever fell in love with. Today, it remains, I think, my favorite song of all time. List of flat and Baton Rouge, headed for the trains, feeling nearly faded as my jeans. Bobby thumbed the diesel down just before it rained, took us all the way to New Orleans. I pulled my harpoon out of a dirty red bandana, and I was blowing sail while Bobby sang the blues. Those windshield wipers slapping time and Bobby clapping hands, we finally sung up every song the driver knew. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. Nothing ain't worth nothing, but it's free. Feeling good was easy, Lord, when Bobby sang the blues. Buddy, that was good enough for me. Good enough for me and Bobby McGee. Mines of Kentucky to the California sun, Bobby shared the secrets of my soul, standing right beside me, Lord, everything I've done. Every night she kept me from the cold. Somewhere near Salinas, Lord, I let her slip away, searching for that home I hope she finds. I'd trade all my tomorrows for one single yesterday, holding Bobby's body next to mine. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. Nothing left was all she left to me. It was easy, Lord, when Bobby sang the blues. Feeling good was good enough for me. Good enough for me and Bobby McGee. Now, to do it, real authentically like Kris would do it, you have to say thank you before the guitar even stops ringing. It's like, thank you. I don't think he felt comfortable with a lot of applause. He wanted to get on to the next song. Or maybe he just figured he could fit more songs into the set that way. I always meant to ask him. So who else is here? Let's see. Hello, Lisa Robbins and Patty Hillkirk and Brian Joyce, my friend out in Houston. And Jane, Matthew, Sheila. It's great to see you guys. So let's see. Somebody was asking me how I came to know Mr. Kristofferson, and there's a few people I gotta thank. The first would be Al Cooley, who's no longer with us, but Al was at Combine Music when I was trying to break in as a songwriter. I headed to Nashville, and I went to Combine Music, the publishing company there on 16th Avenue, because they published Kris Kristofferson songs. And I didn't have any kind of appointment or introduction. I walked in and there was a big picture of Kris on the wall behind the receptionist's desk. Her name was Angela, I later came to know. And I was so tongue-tied, man. I was like standing on holy ground here. I said, I stammered out something about having an appointment. And she said, "Oh, who's your appointment with?" And I said, "I can't remember." And she looked puzzled naturally. And I said, "But if you go down this hallway here and you take a right, it's the first door on the left." I'm just making this up, right? So she says, "Oh, Cooley's office." I said, "Yes, Cooley." So she picks up a phone. She goes, "Al, your 1 o'clock appointment is here." So Cooley comes out and takes me back into his office. And he later admitted that he assumed that he had forgotten that he had made this appointment. So it worked out because I played him a bunch of songs. He didn't really like any of them, but he thought they were, reasonably well written. And he said, "Bring me anything else you got." And the next day, I was working on a song at that point, and I was camping because I couldn't afford a motel room, and I was camping out of a state park called Cedars of Lebanon, which was about 30 miles outside of Nashville on I-40. And I went back. I had a little pup tent and had my guitar, and I sat by the fire, and I finished this song called Rainbows and Butterflies, and I took it into Cooley the next day. And he said, "I can get that cut. I can get that recorded." And he was true to his word, because a few months later, Billy Swan did the song. And they decided to release it as a single, and all of a sudden it was on the country charts. And shortly after that it was released, Billy was on tour with Kris, and they were playing at the Grand Opera House in Wilmington. So I got some backstage passes. I took my mom and dad, and we were up in the balcony there, stage left, and Billy was the opening act. He was in Kris's band for many, many years as his guitar player and backup vocalist. But he would open the show, and he did my song in the set, and he introduced me from the stage, which was one of the biggest thrills of my life. And my dad actually turned to the guy next to him and said, "That's my son," which, if you knew my dad, that was a rare moment between the two of us. So I'll never be able to thank Cooley enough. And of course, then Billy invited us backstage, which is downstairs at the Grand Opera House. And we were kind of standing in the hallway, and I introduced Billy to my folks, and he got us some food and some beverages. And Kris came out. We're all kind of, circled up there in the hallway, and Kris came out, and he was just kind of leaning against the doorway outside the circle, just kind of eavesdropping on what we were talking about. And my mom keeps elbowing me, goes, "Kris Kristofferson is right there. He's right there." So eventually we included him in the conversation. And he said, "My daughter Casey is in the green room right now, and she's singing John's song, Rainbows and Butterflies." and he said she never sings any of my songs. So one of the big nights in a young songwriter's life. Anyway, back to doing some of my friends' songs here. I've seen the morning burning golden on the mountains in the sky. Aching with the feeling of the freedom of an eagle when she flies. Turning on the world the way she smiled upon my soul as I lay dying, healing as the colors in the sunshine or the shadows in her eyes. Morning to the feeling of her fingers on my skin. Wiping out the traces of the people and the places that I've been. Teaching me that yesterday was something that I never thought of trying. Ashamed to be a woman or afraid to be my friend. I don't know the answers to the easy way she opened every door in my mind. Dreaming was as easy as believing it was never gonna end. Was easier than anything I'll ever do again. So, I think one of the next times I got to talk to Kris, actually, if I'm remembering correctly, it was in Baltimore. And Cooley, down in Nashville, had told me that Johnny Cash had just recorded Here Comes That Rainbow Again. And they hadn't even told Kris yet, and so I had set up a backstage pass with Cooley, and I was at the show, and I got to break the news that Johnny had recorded his song, and I'll never forget how excited, I mean, like almost like a little kid excited he was to hear that, which surprised me because, I mean, the guy had been recorded by Johnny Cash and just about everybody else in the world at that point. So I was thinking that's old news to this man, right? And it wasn't. It was, it was a big deal. I remember just the joy that he expressed at hearing that. So I thought maybe I'd try and do that one. once I hydrate and check my comments. So let's see here. Who else is here? New comments. Mira and I guess a lot of these are guys I've already said hello to. Anita says, I knew you had met Kris through Billy Swan, but I had no idea about how you came to manufacture yourself an appointment at Combine. Well, yeah, that'll be in my book someday. Glenda says, rainbow, yes. The scene was a small roadside cafe. The waitress was sweeping the floor. Two truck drivers drinking their coffee. Two oaky kids by the door. How much are them candies, they asked her. How much have you got, she replied. We've only a penny between us. Them's two for a penny, she lied. And the daylight grew heavy with thunder. The smell of the rain on the wind. Ain't it just like a human? Here comes that rainbow again. One truck driver called to the waitress after the kids went outside. Them candies ain't two for a penny. So what's it to you, she replied. In silence they finished their coffee, got up and nodded goodbye. She called, hey, you left too much money. So what's it to you, they replied. The daylight grew heavy with thunder, with the smell of the rain on the wind. Ain't it just like a human? Here comes that rainbow again. So I went from some chances to say hello to actually getting a chance to get to know Kris because of a guy named Alan Foster. So Alan was the editor of a songwriting magazine, Songwriters Monthly, and he called me up knowing that I was associated with Combine and Billy and through them he thought perhaps I'd be a good guy to interview Kris for a cover story that the magazine was doing. And having no journalistic experience whatsoever, never having interviewed anybody in my life, I said, absolutely, I'm the man. And I was in Nashville at the time. I was staying in a Motel 6. It was always the best for me. But I had graduated from a pup tent to actual, a roof and doors and stuff. And I'll never forget. I bought one of those deals where you could, you know, hook your tape recorder into the telephone, and we had an appointment, and Kris was going to call 11 o'clock in the morning or something like that, and you know, it was like getting a phone call from God, man. It was very exciting to talk to this guy, and I had spent days kind of coming up with a list of questions, and we had a long talk, and I enjoyed it immensely, and in it I got, you know, kind of brave enough to say, by the way, you know, I'm a songwriter. And he had mentioned his kids who were little at the time, and they were living out in Hawaii. So it wouldn't have been 11 o'clock because it was the time difference. So it was probably sometime in the afternoon. Anyway, I asked him if it would be okay if I sent him a new children's record that I'd just come out with called "A Manatee Sneezed on Me." And so he gave me his address out in Hawaii. And I think at Christmas time that year, the lady who handled my merchandising, she got a check from the Kristoffersons, and they bought CDs for, you know, the Hana Hawaii Elementary School. So it was the biggest CD sale we ever made, and Chris's daughter, or Kelly, tells me that to this day there are people out on the beaches in Hana singing my song "A Manatee Sneezed on Me," because you know, it caught. I got them when they were young. So anyway, at that point, I was emboldened to send Kris one of my, you know, collections of songs that wasn't aimed at 8-year-olds, and I was just about to come out with a CD called "To the Point," which was a live album we recorded at the Point in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania, and I asked him if he would consider writing liner notes. Actually, I'm jumping ahead a little bit. I sent him my sliced bread recording with "The Manatee Sneezed on Me," and he called me about my songwriting, and he caught things. He picked up things in my songs that nobody else had heard, and to the point where, you know, after a while I was wondering if they weren't really there, you know. But Kris heard them, and he told me I was good, and that he liked what I was doing. So that's when I got emboldened to ask him if he would write the liner notes for my next album, and he said yes. So I sent the tape out to Prague, where he was making a vampire movie with Wesley Snipes. And a couple weeks went by, I guess, and then I got an email, and it was the liner notes that Kris wrote for my album. And they were incredibly kind and generous, drawing parallels with my writing to other guys he loved, whose music he loved. And it was such a big deal for me, and a kind of a validation that I hadn't really gotten at that point. But there was a mysterious thing about the email, because, you know, he wrote the email, and then usually when you write something for attribution, you put like a little hyphen and then your name. But rather than a hyphen and his name, he wrote in three capital letter M's. So it was MMM Kristofferson. And I thought that's cool. I don't know what that means, but that it must be significant, you know. And I showed it to my wife, and she said, "I think that means mechanical mark made, and that gives you the right to reproduce a picture of his signature on the album art." And I thought, wow, I never heard about that. I said, you know, what I first thought of was that I had just appeared at the something for the Million Mile March folks, you know, for kind of sane gun regulations, and I thought he was, you know, indicating sympathy with, you know, gun control by putting the MMM, which stands for Million Mile March. And my manager at the time said, I think you guys are looking too deeply into this. It's like Occam's razor. The simplest explanation is usually the one. And I said, well, what's the simplest explanation? And he said, the man is writing which I didn't think, that just didn't seem true to his style as a writer. But, you know, everybody is, you know, had a different take on the MMM. So I wrote back, Kris, thanks so much for the incredible liner notes. I'll never, you know, be able to repay you for this kindness. And I'll reprint them exactly as you wrote them. But, you know, between you and me, what does MMM stand for? And a day later, I got an email from his wife, and it said, Lisa. And Lisa wrote, Dear John, Kris said to tell you that your liner notes were the first and last email he will ever send. He also said to tell you that MMM was him trying to hit the space bar on my laptop. So that shows you. Break a man, break a promise, break a heart, break a home, take a long, hard look at ahead, gone to hell under the gun. See the child, young and hungry, growing wild on the run, and he'll die reaching for freedom. He was born under the gun, swollen legs, swole blind with power, breaking rules one by one, with their lives raising the danger of their games under the gun. No more time, no more chances, no more wars will be won. In the end, only the losers hold the land under the gun, hold the tree like a hand, let it shine. if I'm missing any questions here. So normally this is a viewer-supported endeavor. Our Busk at Dusk Friday night sets. It's not mandatory that you throw something in the digital guitar case, but normally it is appreciated tonight. I'm asking you, don't worry about that. This is just a chance to remember and smile and share some of my favorite songs. And so you guys are kind of helping me, and I appreciate, you being here. So that song, Under the Gun, I think was from the Repossessed album. I'm not positive, but it was one of the first where I became aware of Kris's use of his songwriting for social justice, for freedom, and it deepened my respect and interest in his music, because I was kind of going through some changes of my own as far as my songwriting, and then I came upon his Third World Warrior album, and which blew me away, and still today is one of my favorites. Songs that he wrote about what was going on in Central America and what the Reagan administration was doing down there. And he paid quite a price for being as outspoken as he was. And I remember him telling me that when the album came out, a reviewer, might have been Rolling Stone, I wouldn't swear to which one, but they wrote, "Surely Mr. Kristofferson realizes that pigs will fly before these songs get played on the radio." Well, I still play them, and I know that they spoke to a lot of people. You gotta make your own rules, child. You gotta break your own chains. The dreams that possess you can blossom and bless you or run you insane. The moment is yours now. Lay on the line. The past just don't matter. The future won't mind. Lay down beside me. Show me a sign. Let me feel your spirit running with mine. I don't So on the wall behind me is a poster of a special show that Kris and I did out in Malibu to raise money for Homeboy Industries. So the reason that all came about was because of Kris's daughter Kelly. We traded favorite books at one point, and I sent her my very, very worn copy of God's Pauper by Nikos Kazantzakis, a novel about Francis of Assisi. And Kelly sent me a book that changed my life, Tattoos on the Heart by Gregory Boyle. And Greg is the founder of Homeboy Industries out in Los Angeles. It's the largest gang intervention agency in the world, and they work with guys trying to get out of gang life and coming out of prison. And I was blown away by the book and Greg's teachings and observations. And I had been, so this was probably about 2007 or 2008, something like that. I had been for 4 or 5 years at that point volunteering at a prison in northern Delaware, the Howard R. Young Correctional Institution, also known locally as Gander Hill Prison. And I ran a little support group, a discussion group for inmates, offenders, we call them now. I don't know what the right word is because we haven't really found one. Incarcerated individuals, that's probably the best thing we got at this point. So I was running a discussion group for incarcerated guys on Tuesday mornings. It was called New Beginnings, and it had been started by a friend of mine named Brother David Schlatter. David is a Franciscan friar who I met when I was doing research about Francis of Assisi, and he became a dear friend, and he remains to this day my spiritual advisor. But anyway, when I went out to I was headed out to California to do a couple little concerts, and one of them was in the church, the Unitarian Universalist Church in Santa Monica. My friend Sue Bickford was involved in that congregation, and so one of the places I was to play was in her church, and we started talking about the possibility of making my concert a fundraiser for Homeboy, and they were all excited about that idea, and so I mentioned that to Kelly and to my friend Johnny Bouchard, who's a friend of Kris's, and Johnny's an extraordinary, a concert producer. And before you could say, what the heck just happened? I got word from Kelly that her dad was interested in appearing with me at the Homeboy fundraiser, and of course, I'm singing in a church basement. We can't, that won't work for Kris Kristofferson. So I let Johnny know, and before long, we're at the Smothers Theater in Malibu. There at Pepperdine University, and there was a camera crew involved, and they were making a documentary about about the concert and how it came about. It was one of the coolest experiences of my life, and of course I got to meet Father Greg Boyle at Homeboy. Toured the Homeboy headquarters, which is the Homegirl Cafe, which is a restaurant that is staffed by returning citizens, women have come out of prison. They like to say it's waitresses with attitude, and but they have a bakery there. They have legal aid for returning citizens. They have tattoo removal. They have mental health, resources, They have job training, solar panel installation, certification, so you can get working in that field in green energy. It's just this one-stop shop for folks who are trying to make some of the hardest changes you can possibly make. And the place is filled with love. And you walk in and you feel the love like it's an electric field. Like you start to your atoms start to vibrate with the tenderness and the delight that everybody in that place takes in each other. So again, I was so inspired by meeting Greg and the homies as they call themselves, and so when I came home, I started next steps. So we did the New Beginnings part, the work in the prison, but I realized that was only part of the deal, that we had to continue that work when guys got home, and so we started meeting on the outside of prison. We started meeting for coffee, and the Next Step group, and I started raising money for transitional assistance for returning citizens. So it's not much that we give, but we do provide bus passes and grocery money in the form of gift cards for the local grocery store. So every week, that you continue with Next Step, and you come to the meetings and you share and you try to do the right thing, the right next thing. You get a little bit of help from my organization, and I don't think I would have thought of this if it weren't for Kelly and Kris, and through them meeting Greg Boyle. So this relationship goes real deep, and this gratitude is beyond anything I can put into words. Let's see if I can. Well, this is a song that always spoke to me, especially relating to the work I do with incarcerated and returning citizens. This one's called Burden of Freedom. I stand on the stairway, my back to the dungeon, the doorway to freedom, so close to my hand, voices behind me, still bitterly damn me for seeking salvation. Don't understand. Lord, help me to shoulder the burden of freedom. Give me the courage to be what I can, and when I am by those who condemn me, Lord, help me forgive them. They don't understand their lonely frustration, descending to laughter, erases the footprints I leave in the sand, and I'm free to travel where no one can follow. in search of the kingdom. They don't understand. Lord, help me to shoulder the burden of freedom. Give me the courage to be what I can. When I have wounded the last one who loved me, God help her forgive me. I don't understand. Glenda asks, is this the guitar recently repaired? Yes, it is, Glenda. As you can see, this is a very, very special old Martin D28. And I don't know if you can see here. No, I guess I'm holding that wrong, right? So there we go. So there's that's Chris's signature down there at the bottom. Up here is Ramblin' Jack Elliott. Let's see here. This here's Rodney Crowell. This is, I could be a TV weatherman. I'm watching the screen and wondering what's, over here. This is Willie Nelson, and over here is Arlo. Arlo's getting worn away, unfortunately, by my arm sweat. But those are all guys I've had the privilege to play shows with. Most of those signatures I got when Kris was given the Woody Guthrie Award in Tulsa, Oklahoma, something like 10 years ago, I guess. They had a special show at Kane's Ballroom there, and Rodney and Ramblin' Jack and Danny Timms and me got to perform in that show, which was really so cool. You know, having Kris sitting over on the side of the stage and me and all these guys getting to do his songs for him. Matter of fact, this is one of the songs I did that night. And this song was always special to me. It's probably the song that spoke to me most personally of all of the Kristofferson canon. And I'll never forget, it was in Glenside at the Keswick Theater one night. Kris was playing there, and I was in the audience, and he got ready to do this song. The song's called "To Beat the Devil," and he said, "I wrote this song for Johnny Cash, but these days it feels like it belongs to John Flynn." It was wintertime in Nashville, down on Music City Row. I was looking for a place to get myself out of the cold, to warm the frozen feelings that were eating at my soul, and get the chilly wind off my guitar. My thirsty wanted whiskey, but my hungry needed beans. It'd been a month of payday since I heard that eagle scream. So with a belly full of empty and a pocket full of dreams, I left my pride and stepped inside this bar. Actually, I guess you call it a tavern, There was whiskey on the counter and sawdust on the floor, cigarette smoke to the rafters, friendly shadows. I could see there's just this one old man sitting at the bar, and in the mirror I could see him checking me and my guitar. He said, "Come on up here, son. Show us what you are." I said, "What I am is dry." And he bought me a beer. He nodded at my guitar and said, "Tough life." I just looked at him. He said, "Hell, you ain't making any money." I said, "You've been reading my mail." He said, "Give me that guitar, son. I got something you ought to hear." And then he laid it on me. If you waste your time talking to the people who don't listen to the things that you are saying, who do you think's gonna hear? And if you should die explaining how the things that they complain about are things they could be changing, who do you think's gonna care? There were other lonesome singers in a world gone deaf and blind who got crucified for what they tried to show. And their voices have been scattered by the swirling winds of time, 'cause the truth remains that no one wants to know. Well, the old man was a stranger, but I heard that song before. Back when failure kept me locked out on the wrong side of the door. And no one stood behind me but my shadow on the floor. And lonesome was more than just a word, 'cause the devil haunts a hungry man, and if you don't want to join him, you gotta beat him. Now, I ain't saying I beat the devil, but one real cold night in Nashville, Tennessee, a long time ago, drank the son of a bitch's beer for nothing. and then I stole his song. And you still can hear me singing to the people who don't listen to the things that I am saying, praying someone's gonna hear. And I'll probably die explaining how the things that they complain about are things they could be changing, hoping someone's gonna care. I was born a lonesome singer, and I'll probably die the same, just trying to feed the hunger in my soul. If I never have a nickel, I won't never be ashamed, 'cause I don't believe that no one wants to know. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for that one. I want to check in on my comments, but that song still means a lot to me. Anita likes that one too, huh? The Swirling Winds of Time. Ruth Jackson says, your name sounded familiar, so I sorted through my CDs, and there is America's Waiting. I'll re-listen after this. Well, I appreciate that. Brian Joyce, I'm not crying, you're crying. Yeah, we ain't even gotten to the tough songs yet, you know. And I got a picture of my buddy Kris on the table there under the camera, so I'm looking at him as I'm singing, and I don't know where this is going to go before it's over, but I'll probably be singing all alone on the internet. You guys will have long gone to bed. I'll still be up here pouring out my heart. John Behorner's here. Hey, buddy. I enjoyed talking to you the other day. Will you be sharing the interview in print form? If you're talking about the interview from, and this is Glenda asking, if you're talking about the interview from Songwriters Monthly, I'm sure I have a copy of it around here, but I wouldn't have the rights to share it. But maybe I'll reach out to those guys and see if it's on the internet or something. It's tough going back over the comments because I don't know what they refer to. Brian Joyce says he preached that song once a year for 20 years. So Brian, text me on my phone. Tell me what song you're talking about. Anyway, that was called "To Beat the Devil," and this is a song that I wrote to Kris. Kind of as an answer song to that. It's called "Backstage with the Devil." I guess this song's about 10 years old, something like that. Backstage with the devil that he beat so long ago, wondering if there were still hard feelings. It never gets no easier for a man to save his soul, but it had been a while since they had dealings. The devil said, "You really dodged a bullet there, old son. I thought that you were just another dreamer. There ain't many nowadays who could do what you have done. Besides, as I get older, I get meaner." The old man's eyes grew narrow as he stroked his beard of gray. Then he picked up his guitar and he began to play. The devil said the price of following the heart's too steep. His laughter sounded just like rolling thunder. As he said, dreams of mortal men are purchased on the cheap, their birthrights sold for promises of comfort. The devil said, "I tried so hard to buy that soul from you. When I came bearing money, fame, and pleasure, somehow you picked my pockets and still found ways to be true to the songs and freedom that you treasure." The old man's eyes were bluer than the tunes he loved to hum as he looked down at his guitar and he began to strum. On top of that, the devil said, "You made it tough for me to strike up deals with those in desperation. Your maddening three-chord parables of human dignity spoiled several of my negotiations. In the end, not one single soul gets out of here alive." The devil hissed as they parted the curtains. The old man laughed because he could not remember a time when, of a lie, he'd ever been more certain. The devil said, "I tried so hard to buy that soul from you. When I came bearing money, fame, and pleasure, he'd ever been more certain. The old man looked like someone who was less than half his age when he strapped on his guitar and strode out on the stage. Just scrolling through some comments. Lots of guys, lots of you are saying lovely things tonight. I'm not sure if you all can see these. I hope you can. Heidi asked for this one. Might be a little out of tune, which I don't think Kris would have a problem with. Tonight is not about being perfect. Tonight is just about love, gang. So. Was it wonderful for you? Was it holy as it was for me? Did you feel the hand of destiny that was guiding us together? You were young enough to dream. I was old enough to learn something new. I'm so glad I got to dance with you for a moment of forever. Sometimes when you're crying, you're happy. Sometimes you're just crying. I know. I know. Come whatever happens now, ain't it nice to know some dreams still come true? I'm so glad that I was close to you for a moment of forever. Here's one of my favorites. Was a man, Mahatma Gandhi, would not bow down, would not fight. He knew the deal was down and dirty, nothing wrong could make it right. But he knew his duty, the price he had to pay. Just an ordinary man, tried to be a friend. My God, they killed him. Another man from Atlanta, Georgia, named Martin Luther King. He shook the land like rolling thunder, made the bells of freedom ring again. The dream of beauty, they could not turn away. Just another holy man, tried to make a stand. My God, they killed him. Son of God Almighty, the Holy One called Jesus Christ. Healed the lame and fed the hungry, for his love they took his life away. On that road to glory, where the story never ends. Just the Holy Son of Man, never understand. My God, they killed him. Sing about Mahatma Gandhi, sing of Martin Luther King, sing of Jesus Christ Almighty and the brothers Kennedy. So here's another one that Heidi sent me a whole bunch. When she heard I was going to do this, she sent me a whole bunch of songs to make sure they got them in the set. I took myself down to the Tally-Ho Tavern to buy me a bottle of beer. I sat me down by a tender young maiden whose eyes were as soft as her hair. While I was searching from bottle to bottle for something unfoolish to say, that silver-tongued devil stepped out of the shadows and smilingly stole her away. I said, hey, little girl, don't you know he's the devil? He's everything that I ain't, hiding intentions of evil under the smile of a saint. All he's good for is getting in trouble, shifting his share of the blame. Some people swear he's my double, some even say we're the same. But the silver-tongued devil's got nothing to lose, and I'll only live till I die. We take our own chances and pay our own dues. The silver-tongued devil and I. Like all the fair maidens who laid down beside him, she knew in her heart that he lied. Nothing that I could have said could have saved her, no matter how hard that she tried. 'Cause she offered her charms to the darkness and danger of somebody she'd never known. And she opened her arms to the smile of a stranger who'd love her and leave her alone. And you know he's the devil. He's everything that I ain't. Hiding intentions of evil inventions under the smile of a saint. All he's good for is getting in trouble, shifting his share of the blame. Some people swear he's my double. Some even say we're the same. But the silver-tongued devil's got nothing to lose, and I'll only live till I die. Take our own chances and pay our own dues. The silver-tongued devil and I. Billy Dalton staggered on the sidewalk. Someone said he stumbled and he fell. 6 squad cars came screaming to the rescue, hauled old Billy Dalton off to jail. Was the laws for protection of, was for protection, was for protection of the people. Rules are rules and any fool can see. You don't need no drunk like Billy Dalton, scaring decent folks like you and me. Homer Lee Honeycutt was nothing but a hippie, walking through this world without a care. Then one day 6 strapped and brave policemen held down Homer Lee and cut his hair. 'Cause the law is for protection of the people. Rules are rules and any fool can see. You don't need no hairy-headed hippies, scaring decent folks like you and me. No siree. So just thank your lucky stars you got protection. Stay in line and never mind the cost. No wonder who them lawmen were protecting when they nailed the Savior to the cross. The laws for protection of the people. Rules are rules and any fool can see. We don't need no riddle-speaking prophets, scaring decent folks like you and me. No siree. Jesus was a Capricorn, he ate organic food. He believed in love and peace and never wore no shoes. Long hair, beard, and sandals, had a funky bunch of friends. I reckon they just nail him up if he'd come down again. Everybody's gotta have somebody to look down on, someone they can feel better than anytime they please, someone doing something dirty decent folks can frown on. If you can't find nobody else, then help yourself to me. Cussing rednecks, cussing hippies for their hair. Others laugh at straights, who laugh at freaks, who laugh at squares. Some folks hate the whites, who hate the blacks, who hate the Klan. Most of us hate anything that we don't understand. 'Cause everybody's gotta have somebody to look down on, someone they can feel better than something dirty decent folks can frown on. If you can't find nobody else, then help yourself to me. Lisa and a couple other people asked how to donate. I'm assuming, since I'm not seeing the texts that you guys are sending me in real time, I'm not exactly sure what they relate to, but I assume that's to donate to New Beginnings Next Step, which is the nonprofit that I'm involved with. I'm the executive director of it, in fact. So you can go to my website, johnflynn.net, and I'm sure on there's a link that'll take you to the newbeginningsnextstep.org page. You can make a donation through that page via PayPal, or we have a post office box, and we use good old-fashioned checks. So, and we can use the support, honestly. So, but I don't want to make this night about fundraising or make it about anything but remembering my old friend. I have been listening to his music every day this week, and cried more than one tear for that old man, honest to God. Remembering, and I saw a post on Facebook this week from the mom of a Marine who was profoundly injured in Afghanistan, a corporal by the name of Todd Love. And Kris and I met Todd through Brother David. So Brother David is, when he left Wilmington, and he gave me New Beginnings, he was the guy that founded the support group at Gander Hill. And somebody did text to me, the comment was the correct word is residents rather than inmates, and I believe that is the proper way to refer to them. I'm kind of caught up because I'm always dealing in prison lingo when I deal with DOC, but I like residents. I think that works. Anyway, David started the New Beginnings group as part of the ministries that came out of the Franciscan Center, which he ran here in Wilmington. And then when he was transferred to Silver Spring, Maryland, he began to work as the chaplain at the Bethesda and Walter Reed Medical Complex. And he saw that Kris was going to be appearing at the Strathmore. I think it's Strathmere. And he called me and said, "Do you think Kris would be willing to visit some of my guys?" You know. And so I reached out, and of course Kris said yes. And David and I picked him up at his tour bus was parked behind the venue. And it was early, in the morning, and we went over to the hospital. And every single room we went into, we had to gown up, and glove up, because and we spent the morning and, hours going from floor to floor, from room to room, meeting these incredible young men who had been injured in Iraq and Afghanistan. And, when I asked Kris, like, he was like, well, they won't have heard of me. Why would they want to meet me? Of course, Greg Boyle says, the key to charm is self-defecating humor. And no shit, right? But Kris was one of the humblest, most self-effacing men you could ever want to meet. But I did realize that a lot of the young guys we would be meeting in the hospital wouldn't know his music, but they would certainly know some of his acting roles, and certainly would be familiar with his role as Whistler in the Blade series of movies with Wesley Snipes. So I went out. I think my buddy Dan printed up like a couple hundred 8x10s of Kris, holding machine guns or whatever, rocket launchers, and he's got bandoleros, and he had that long shoulder hair that he wore as Whistler, and and so I was handing these out to the corpsman, or it was the chief who was taking us from room to room. And so we wouldn't just barge in on people. We would knock. The chief would go in first and say, Mr. Kristofferson is here. Would you like him to come in and visit? And a lot of the guys, once they saw the picture, they go, oh man, this is, yeah, Whistler is here. So, but we got to one room, and the guy had lost part of his head, like part of his skull. And the curtains were drawn, and he didn't want guests. He didn't want to receive guests. As a matter of fact, Michelle Obama had gone to see him, and he turned her away. And he was a Marine, and he had the Marine Corps flag draped behind his bed. And they showed him the picture of Kris as Whistler in the Blade movie. And they said, do you want to meet Mr. Kristofferson? And excuse my language, I'm going to quote here. He said, fuck yeah, that dude's a badass. So we went in, and we spent, 10 minutes, 15 minutes with the guy. And then it was shortly after that we met Todd Love. So anyway, Todd had lost both of his legs and one of his arms in an explosion in Afghanistan, literally like weeks before this, right? So when we got into his room, there was the folks from the hospital said, oh, you have to stay because Todd's mom wants to meet Kris. She's over at the Ronald McDonald residence for the parents. And she said, don't let him leave. I'm his biggest fan, right? So we kind of hung around and got to know Todd a little bit. An incredible kid. Who, was not the last time I got to spend time with this young man. So much positive attitude, and anyway, finally his mom, Brandy, shows up, and she suggests that we all line up next to Todd's bed for a picture. So it's Kris and Brandy and me. We're all in our yellow gowns. and in the bed is this young man who's recently been so profoundly injured. And Brandy says, "See, Todd, these are the perks." And Kris says, "Oh, you got the shitty end of that deal." And that kid laughed. And we laughed. And then that night at the concert, I got a text message. I was in the audience. I got a text message from Kris before he went out on the stage, and he said, "Come back in the intermission." So I did, and he said, "I'm going to bring you out on stage tonight, and I'm going to ask you to sing one of your songs." I said, I don't have my guitar," and he said, "No, I'll give you my guitar." And he asked me to play this one, and it's a song I wrote for a young girl I had met at Camp Dreamcatcher. Camp Dreamcatcher is a summer camp for kids dealing with AIDS and HIV, and I wrote this for one of the kids I had fallen in love with. And I found that Kris had sung this song at his dear friend Stephen Bruton's funeral. Actually, I think he tried to sing it, and he ended up having to just talk it, which that may happen to me tonight, gang. So anyway, in the second set, I was already in the wings, and I went out. Kris handed me his guitar and just stepped back out of the spotlight, but stood next to me on the stage. And I think Heidi's with us tonight, one of the people watching the stream, and I think that's the first time she ever heard me sing. And I sang this song. And Kris's son, Johnny, was with him on that tour. And he told me it was the only time in his life he'd ever seen his dad give up his guitar on the stage. But anyway, this is from my old friend. They tell me now that you must say goodbye, though I'm not sure just for how long or why. I must begin walking under a sky without you with me. They say every hourglass runs out of sand, and that I have to let go of your hand, and that my tomorrow today should be planned without you with me. They say things can change in the blink of a tear, but your courage taught me that I shouldn't fear. Come what may, your love will always be here in my heart. Nothing is ever the way that it seems. I have my memories, I have my dreams, and so I'll never know just what life means without you with me. They say things can change in the blink of a tear, but your courage taught me that I shouldn't fear. Come what may, your love will always be here in my heart. Your strength and your spirit are now part of me, along with the joy that we shared. So you see, although you go away, I'll never be without you with me. Without you with me. Kris used to say, it's great coming to see an old man blow his nose, right? Oh, thanks for letting me get that off my chest, you guys. So this is one I recorded with Kelly Kristofferson, and it's on my Mercy album. And God, that girl can sing. If you haven't heard it, it's available on the digitals, up on Spotify and all that jazz. And take the ribbon from your hair, shake it loose and let it fall. Lay it soft against my skin, like the shadows on the wall. Come and lay down by my side till the early morning light. All I'm taking is your time. Help me make it through the night. I don't care what's right or wrong. I don't try and understand. Let the devil take tomorrow. Lord, tonight I need a friend. Yesterday is dead and gone, and tomorrow's out of sight. And it's bad to be alone. Help me make it through the night. Lord, it's bad to be alone. Help me make it through the night. Nice to have friends helping you make it through the set. Anyway. Well, I woke up Sunday morning with no way to hold my head that didn't hurt. And the beer I had for breakfast wasn't bad, so I had one more for dessert. And I fumbled through my closet for my clothes, found my cleanest dirty shirt. I washed my face and combed my hair, stumbled down the stairs to meet the day. Well, I'd smoked my brain the night before on cigarettes and songs that I'd been picking. So I lit my first and watched a small kid cussing at a can that he was kicking. Then I crossed an empty street and caught the Sunday smell of someone frying chicken. And it took me back to something I lost somehow, somewhere along the way. On a Sunday morning sidewalk, wishing, Lord, something in a Sunday makes a body feel alone. And there's nothing short of dying half as lonesome as the sound on the sleeping city sidewalk. Sunday morning coming down. In the park I saw a daddy with a laughing little girl who he was swinging. And I stopped next to a Sunday school and listened to the songs that they were singing. Somewhere in the distance I could hear the sounds of lonesome church bells ringing, and they echoed through the distance like the disappearing dreams of yesterday. On a Sunday morning sidewalk, wishing, Lord, that I was stoned, 'cause there's something in a Sunday makes a body feel alone. And there is nothing short of dying half as lonesome as the sound on a sleeping city sidewalk. Sunday morning coming down. I want to make sure I'm not missing any requests here. Glenda says, blow that nose just like Kristofferson would do. Yeah. I did my best impression. Oh, gosh. So this is a real special song to me. The first time I heard it, I knew that if I ever danced with my daughter at her wedding, that it would be to this song. And indeed, that's what Sarah and I danced to when she got married, to a wonderful young man named Brett. And now those guys gave us two super amazing grandkids. You gave me back my soul again for showing me the laughter and the wonder in your eyes. Save me from the shuttered man I used to be. Opened up the windows of my life, and the happiness you've given me for loving you is sweeter love and deeper every day. I can't stop the changes that you're going through, where someone new from stealing you away. So darling, when it's time, you can spread your wings, and I'll set you free to fly away. It's okay, 'cause darling, time changes everything, but it won't change me. I love you, oh, I love you. Inside of me, you'll always be my Valentine. I pray your freedom makes your dreams come true. As long as there's a heartbeat in this soul of mine, you'll know there's someone so in love with you. So darling, when it's time, you can spread your wings, and I'll set you free to fly away. It's okay, 'cause darling, time changes everything, but it won't change me. I love you, oh, I love you. Well, we're in the home stretch here, kid. An old friend of Kris wrote me this lovely email a few days ago. And she said, I hope you're going to do the Leonard Cohen song. And I wrote her back, great minds think alike, because I was planning to do this song tonight. This song that contains the lines that Kris had always said he wanted on his tombstone. Like a bird on a wire, like a drunk in a midnight choir, I've tried in my way to be free. Like a bird on a wire, like a drunk in the midnight choir, I have tried in my way to be free. Like a worm on a hook, like a knight from an old-fashioned book. I've saved up all my ribbons just for thee. If I held like a drunk in a midnight choir. I have tried in my way to be free. So, a request for Sing Me on My Way in Benediction. Well, I did plan to do these songs tonight. I didn't want to do that many of my own for obvious reasons, but these are kind of special songs in my relationship with Kris. So this one I have not been able to listen to all week. I posted it online today, so hopefully other people could listen to it. But I think probably after tonight I'll be able to take the chance. This is a song that I had a lot of help recording. So the idea for this song came to me in a dream one night, and I imagined hearing all of the great folks that I've had the chance to work with over the years singing on this track with me. And it pretty much happened as I imagined it. And folks I played with, like from the beginning, my brother Mike, who was in my first band, sings on it. My kids sing on the track. Kathy Matea, who sang on some of my first demos in Nashville, back when I was just starting out. She sings on it. Jane Kelly Williams, Ben Wish, Billy Swan. I'm gonna forget people, and I don't want to do that. Kathy Woolsey, T-shirt Kathy. Just like different people from different parts of my career. Arlo, God bless him, sang on it, and of course Kris. So it's probably going to always be my favorite recording, because it's there's so much joy in listening to it for me. Say your whole life flashes by you, and your time on earth is all gone. I figure since my life's been music, I hear those last moments in song. Every song I ever heard will play inside my heart. It will be symphony. Sing inside my soul. Friends will come to sing me on my way. Some folks remember in pictures, though these blue eyes have been blessed, see their share of this world's beauty. One day when I go to my rest, every song I ever heard my heart. It will be symphony. Every voice I ever loved will sing inside my soul. Friends will come to sing me on my way. inside my heart. It will be a symphony. Every voice I ever loved, sing inside my soul. You'll be there to sing me on my way. Friends will come to sing me on my way. Come on, my friends, sing me on my way. So this is also one that Kris recorded backup vocals for. It was on the I think it was on the Dragon album that we did on Metaphor Records. My dear old friend Hermeta Harper, who decided at a point where I didn't have a record contract, she decided I needed one. So although she was just a realtor and knew nothing about the music business, something that never really changed that much, she started a record company. And before long, I was in New York with a Grammy-winning producer named Ben Wish, and a whole bunch of wonderful players: Larry Campbell, Sean Pelton, just big name musicians, and we made a couple great albums on Metaphor Records. And this is one from the Dragon album that Kris sang on. And then whenever I happened to be at a show, which I made as many of them as I could, if he was in the area certainly, or wherever we happened to be in the country, he'd ask me out on the stage for his encore, and one of the songs in the encore would be this one. In 2004, I was the co-MC of the Philadelphia Folk Festival. Kris appeared at that festival, and he was the closing act on the Saturday night, I think it was, stage, big main stage. And I was going to introduce him, but back then, the MC job was a little bit like being a rodeo clown. So they had you go out with your guitar and kind of fill in while they were, setting up the next act. There was not behind the curtain, but like right in the middle of the stage, they're setting up the next act, and you're over here, on the side with a microphone, and I'm playing usually a funny song or, something silly that if it got interrupted, which it would get interrupted, because as soon as the main act is ready to go, they say, cut it, Flynn, So, but on this particular night, Kris and his family were in the wings, and Kelly Kristofferson, who was just a kid back then, wanted to hear my song Dragon. Now, Dragon's not a funny song. It's not a silly song. It's not the kind of song you want to stop halfway through. But I couldn't say no to my friend Kelly, and so I'm out there doing this kind of dark, political, this moody song, and it's a long song. It's it must push 5 minutes, maybe. So anyway, I'm digressing certainly here, but this all comes back around to the introduction. So I'm singing Dragon. I'm like on the fourth verse, and Ken Kissinger, who is the stage manager, he's back there going, "Why is Flynn still singing? Didn't somebody tell him to stop?" And nobody had wanted to interrupt the song. And so Ken says, "Oh well, I'll tell him to stop. He's got to stop. You know, we're on a schedule here." And so he's about to step out onto the stage, and he feels a hand on his shoulder. Ken has told me this story many times. He feels a hand on his shoulder, and this iconic gravelly voice that he's known for decades in his ear, and it says, "You're not going to try and stop John Flynn from finishing his song, are you?" And he turns around and he says, "No, Mr. Kristofferson." So I got to do the whole song. Anyway, later on, when I'm introducing Kris, I did benediction, hoping, maybe that he might be inspired. I didn't think there was a chance in hell because he's about to go on, and usually you're not going to go out on stage and sing backup vocals for the MC before you go out on stage. It kind of takes away from your big entrance, right? But I decided I wasn't going to do a funny song. I was going to do benediction, maybe try and get the crowd to sing along. I figured there was one shot in 1,000 that Kris would come out and sing with me. Anyway, I started the song, and I'm like in the middle of the second line or third line of the first verse, and the crowd goes wild, and it was Kris coming up behind me. And we just had the one microphone, and he had his guitar, and we kind of squeezed in there on one microphone, two guitars and two voices, like Paul McCartney and George Harrison used to do on the Beatles shows in the early days, and it sounded pretty damn good. We shared a video on Facebook this week. It's been making around. Christine Lavin's been passing it around. But anyway, it was one of the truly great memories I have of the Philly Folk Festival, and I'll be thankful for the many, many times I got to sing this song with Kris. He was a hell of a harmony singer. I asked him how he got so good, and he said, "I always loved singing, and when I was little, I didn't have much confidence in my singing voice." Of course, he never bragged on his singing voice, which everybody listening to this stream tonight is a big fan of his singing voice, but he was not. So he said, since I never felt confident enough to sing lead, but I love to sing, so I always sang harmony. And he had a great ear for harmony. May the road carry you safely home. May the road carry you safely home. No matter how long or how far you may roam, May the road carry you safely home. Well, I'm going to do one more, and thank you guys. If I missed any requests, I apologize, and I'll be happy to try and fit them in on my future bads, my future busks after dusk, or busk at dusk. My friend Greg Boyle texted me the day after the news came out about Kris passing away. Father Greg reminded me of something he always says, you know, as a priest and the guy who runs Homeboy. He's had to preside over hundreds of funerals of folks who lost their lives to violence, and he always says death is a punk. I guess one of the homies told him that one time. Death is a punk. And I'd heard him say it a bunch of times before. And I always liked the ring of it. I liked the sound of it, but I don't think I really understood it. But now I get it. Because death thinks it takes everything. But it can't take the gratitude. And it sure as hell can't take the love. Why me, Lord? What have I ever done to deserve even one of the pleasures I've known? Tell me, Lord, what did I ever do that was worth loving you, or the kindness you showed? Lord, help me, Jesus, I've wasted it, so help me, Jesus, I know what I am. Now that I know that I needed you, so help me, Jesus, my soul's in your hand. Try me, Lord, if you think there's a way I can try to repay all I've taken from you. Maybe, Lord, I can show someone else what I go through myself on my way back to you. Lord, help me, Jesus, I wasted it, so help me, Jesus, I know what I am. Now that I know that I've needed you, so help me, Jesus, my soul's in your hands. Jesus, my soul's in your hands. Good night, everybody. God bless you. Thanks, Kris. We'll see you soon.